Hey, Brandon, welcome to the show.
Hey, how are you, Jay? How you doing?
I'm excited to have you on. Tell us who you are, what you do.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Brandon Rost, B Marketing, been an agency owner for about 15 years now.
Awesome. And how'd you get started creating an agency?
It's a great question. So I was in the corporate world, right? I had an agency in New York that was buying my media. I had an agency in Richmond, Virginia that was doing our media buying. So I was kind of like bored. At the time, I was doing social media for the corporate business, and I was like, oh, I should start doing this more often. I bartended on the side, sitting at serving drinks one night at the bar. There was a PR agency owner that was across, and she's like, hey, I have 10 clients that need help with social media. Can you help? So I kind of fell into doing social media.
She talked to a bartender for this?
Right. So I was like, she's like, what do you do during the day? I'm like, oh, I work for this company, but I do social media on the side. So it's kind of like that.
Okay. All right. Because I was like, I know everybody talks to bartenders about their biggest issues, but like, that's just random. And then.
Yeah. But it was right place, right times. And we started managing those 10 social media accounts for her. So that kind of like boosted the business and gave us an opportunity to get in. And then we sat down with the client and we're like, hey, we can do your social media. And they're like, great, but you have to manage our website too. So I was like, no problem. We'll figure that out. Like, we'll manage your site too. So it kind of like started to ravel from there.
Yeah. It's amazing how most of us are all accidental. Did you know what an invoice was when they first asked you to send an invoice?
I'm like, invoice? No. And I was sending it as a Word doc. I didn't even know what these software programs were.
Yeah. I remember my first client asked me to send him an invoice, and obviously Google wasn't around then. And I was like, I had to ask my dad. I was so embarrassed.
Nice.
But
great.
we all figured it out. That's about, the most successful people are the ones that are resourceful. And
I agree with
that. Like, I don't know how to do it right now, but we'll make it work.
Yes. We'll say yes. And then on the backside, try to figure that out. I didn't know how to do HR. I didn't know how to do finance. I didn't know how to do sales, but I knew marketing and how to do that.
Oh, HR. I don't think anybody knows how to do HR.
It's a whole other job. It truly is a whole nother job. Like, part of the struggle is like, are the employees happy? Are they satisfied? Like, what are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? Do we give summer Fridays? Oh, this one wants to add fall Fridays. Like, what does that look like? It's a whole nother job.
Yeah, I think it goes back to, and I know when you get certain sizes, you need that, right? That's kind of why I like my business now, and even when I ran the bigger agency, I was so far removed from that because I put the right people in the right seat that I didn't have to worry about it until there was, an issue. Like, we were talking about it in the mastermind a couple of weeks ago. They were like, someone was like, look, if you ever have a company party, don't have drinking.
Yes.
And they started telling us the story. We're like, oh, like, yeah, it's a good story for the mastermind, but bad story to kind of go through as an agency.
It's funny you say that. Like, based on my previous history, like, any party we have Team Builder, I buy 2 drinks. After 2 drinks, you're on your own because of that whole legal side of it. And no one thinks that, and they have open bars and things like that, but anything could happen.
Well, it's even what they're going to say after, even if they're buying their own drinks, right? Like,
yeah,
it's
I was at this company party.
Yeah, it's like, let's, doing the lane dance off Seinfeld, right? Whatever that dance was. But well, let's get back into, so you started by accident. You took on some of these clients because you were bartending, which is epic. That's awesome. What was kind of like, you doing this by yourself, I presume? When did you decide you were going to hire someone?
Yeah, for sure. I started it on my own. I think one of my biggest success, I tell people, whether I'm speaking like entrepreneur or agency wise, is like being able to do it bartending. Every piece of dollar that I made, every dollar that I made at the agency for the first 2 or 3 years went right back into the agency. And I think that allowed me to build it to the way it was, or the way it is today, because I lived off that bartending money at the time. So it was a huge part of the success. I probably brought on my first employee, I want to say around part-time 12 months in. Full-time, it was probably closer to 2 years in.
Okay. Yeah. That's about the norm. Some people are a little bit quicker. Some people are a little bit slower. How long did it take you to get over the $1 million mark?
Gosh, it probably took us, we started in 2010. I would say probably around 2014 is when we really kicked into gear, moved out of the basement, got our own corporate A-class office, and kind of grew it from there.
Did it feel any different? People think when you hit the seven-figure mark, it feels very different.
No, because I think it brought on more work, right? Like now
Right.
it's HR, you got 10 people you have to manage. Right now it's
Yep.
building out the two invoices to manage this. So you have to hire the finance person or find an outsourced research to kind of bridge that gap.
Yeah, the thing is a lot of times when we'll chat with an agency that is under the million mark, they go, "I want to make it over the million mark," and I'm like, "Why?" Oh, the seas are going to part and the skies are going to open and the
Yeah.
rainbows and the gold are going to come out. I'm like, no, that doesn't happen, right?
Yeah.
Like I always tell everybody is like, look, the goal you should be shooting for is to build the right foundation where the business continues to grow without you doing everything.
Yep.
And every once in a while, just keep like every quarter going, what am I doing right now that I can kind of put to the side a little bit? And and then, a couple years go by, you're like, man, I'm really not doing a lot anymore. This is amazing. I got freedom. Like I can go on vacation and it still makes money.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think like for me, it's kind of a learn the hard way, which is a challenge because like we're a multi-million dollar agency, but I still do the sales today. And it's like we need to hire a sales team so I get out of that. So we have a business development person we brought on. We're slowly rolling it out, but we're 15 years in, multi-million dollars to do it. We probably should have did it a couple years ago.
Well, yeah, it's the best time to plant a tree is when 20 years ago or
Yes.
today.
Right? Exactly. Right. Yeah. And I think your point, like with the whole multi-million dollar or the $1 million mark is like, whether it's under a million or over a million from an agency standpoint, like knowing our numbers, right? Like what are those numbers? And the rubber band's going to like stretch and expand at different times as far as net profit or number of employees. But like just understanding what those numbers are, I think has helped us along the way because we've lost track of that during COVID and we had to get it back over the last couple of years. So it's been a hurdle.
What are the KPIs that you shoot for?
It's all different. So, like from our standpoint, like looking at a full service advertising agency that includes media, creative, and digital. I mean, we're looking at net profits around 10 to 12%.
Okay.
Is what we're shooting for. We want our agency gross revenue or AGI to be in that 55 to 60% range. And we got in trouble with that, to be honest with you, because we were collecting the Google payments for all of our clients. So we're doing a couple million dollars in Google payments, and we're chasing money each month to try to collect from the invoice to pay Google. We thought we were doing our clients a service of allowing them an extra 30 days to pay for their Google invoice, but here it was getting us in trouble from turning into a bank versus an agency. So our cost of goods was in the 60 to 70% range versus our agency income. So we've been able to fix that and identify that, but the numbers has helped us like, hey, we want our agency gross income to be 55%. We want our net profit to be 10 to 12%. And where does payroll fall into that? And one
Why
thing that
you?
we do,
Yeah,
sorry,
go
go.
on. Sorry, go
I
for
was
it.
just gonna say the one thing I pull numbers from is like I get SageWorks, I think it's called from a finance standpoint, is it pulls all these different agency owners in and shows like, hey, your payroll should be 33%, your rent should be 3%. So SageWorks is this tool I pull.
Okay, cool. So, and is that why you pick 10 to 15% for your profit goal?
It is. And again, like, so I look at SageWorks and I'm like, hey, it should be in that 10 to 15% range. And that's kind of historically 3, 5 and all time. So it makes sense. But then I'm talking to other people and it's like, hey, they're shooting for 20, 30, 40%. And I'm
Yeah.
like, wait, how's that possible? Like, what am I missing? Which one's right? Which one's wrong? And what does that look like? And I talk to some agency, like mastermind people that you have, and it's like, hey, different numbers across the board.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's no right or wrong, right? I always felt 10 to 15 or anything under 20 is low, but it
Okay.
also depends on what you're trying to build, right? Like if you're investing back into the business, that's perfectly fine. But if you're gearing up to sell in years to come, right? Like let's say within 2 years, well, then we need to work on that in order to get, the EBITDA or the net profit is as high as possible, because and then some people just don't even know their numbers, honestly,
Sure.
too. They're like, we're 50% margins. I'm like, you're full of shit. Like,
Yeah, how's that possible?
you're right. Like, I mean, it is possible. I
Yep.
mean, but then, you're probably not paying your team the healthy wage and they might be happy and they're it's leading indicators for other things. Right.
Yep.
Most of our mastermind members shoot for at least 30%.
Okay.
Some are under, some are over, right? Like, but then again, there's 1,000 ways to do different things.
Sure. Now, but so the other thing too is like as we're set up as like an S corporation versus an LLC, does that take into account like if you add my salary back in and that jumps us up to 30%, is it like, okay, those numbers make more sense?
Well, so the thing I always tell people, and especially when we were looking at buying a lot of agencies, right? And someone would be like, "Hey, my EBITDA is $1 million, but I don't pay myself a salary." I'm like, "Well, you're the CEO, so do you not do any work?" "Oh no, I do a lot of work." "So what would you pay someone to do your work?" 250,000. Okay, so your EBITDA is 750
Yes. All right,
in
cool. Yeah.
EBITDA, right? Like, but your distributions. So you would just think, if I hire a CEO, what would I pay them?
Sure.
And I'm probably not going to do distributions and that kind of stuff. And then the other thing too is, look, you can always have those ad backs in there, right? Like, you want to pay the tax man the least amount as possible.
Yes, we try that
Right.
every year.
Exactly. Right. Like, that's because that's probably our biggest expense
Yep.
for, businesses of our size. And so, but then if we're going to position to sell it one day, well, add that stuff back. That's what I always tell, like, a lot of our mastermind members. I'm like, look, I know you're getting ready to sell, but the mastermind's not going to continue if you sell. That's an add back. Or, your car expense. I mean, I had a race team. So that was a huge
Oh,
add
nice.
back that
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
that we put in there. So, there's ways to do it, to make the numbers work, because a lot of times we look at your 15%, right, that you're shooting for on QuickBooks, but that has all the add backs too.
Sure.
Right. So
That
that's
makes sense.
that's kind of where I tell people to go.
Yeah. Mixing those numbers up and what is that? Yeah.
Yeah. What's been a surprise now that you're a multi-million dollar agency? You've been doing it for a long time. What's a big surprise, looking back, that kind of caught you off guard?
I think it's a great question. My immediate reaction is as we were growing, we were looking to continue to expand. So at one point, it was me and 17 people underneath of me. And looking back, it's like, hey, it should be 7 people for every boss or manager, so to say, I guess you should say.
Mhm.
So what we did is we identified, hey, I can't have 17 people report to me, so I have to create these new positions in each of the different departments. And instead of going about it the right way with, hey, let's create a job description. Do we have someone internal or do we need to hire outside? We just elevated people to elevate them. And I
Mm.
think that definitely put us back a year in getting it right, because we put people in charge that may not have ever managed. We put people in charge that shouldn't be managing, or we put people in charge that were like, hey, I came here to do graphic design. I don't want to manage people, and saw some turnover within those 12 months. So looking back, I mean, my knee jerk reaction is like, right people, right seats, as far as like, don't just hire from within to do it. Make sure that if you're creating that position, what does that look like to make sure that it's helping the agency grow?
Well, the biggest thing too is you got to figure out, where do they want to go? Like, one of your jobs as a leader is to help get them to where they're trying to go. And which track do they want to be on? Do they want to be on the skilled track? Do they want to be on the manager track? Like, I'm the worst manager in the fucking world, right? Like, I don't want to manage anybody,
Yeah.
because I have one way of thinking, one way of doing, and everyone needs to follow that suit. But what I've realized is I need to hire people that can manage themselves, and then have those people that can actually manage the people that can't manage themselves. And I need to get
Yeah.
out of the mix on there, right? Like, it's just,
And I'm similar. Like, I'm very direct, and it's not because I want to be direct. It's just like from a time standpoint and still wearing a couple of hats. It's like, what do you mean that website's not converting? Like, make it convert. Like, just make it convert.
yeah, yeah. My New Yorker comes out when people aren't doing what they're supposed to. I'll be like, it's kind of like when I get on the freeway driving, I'm like,
Yeah. Yep.
get
I can
off,
relate.
get out of the slow lane, like,
Yeah.
move over. I do want to go back with, like, you've been doing this for 15 years. You're bringing on a salesperson or building
Yeah.
a sales team. What's been the biggest challenge with getting that going, or what was that biggest challenge for waiting this long?
We've tried it 2 other times. We brought in old radio salespeople before. So I've hired 2 previous radio salesmen. And my thought is, hey, they do outbound. They only do outbound. So they should be really good at going to find business. But I think where we lost it was they couldn't necessarily relate to the digital side as well as they could, at least back in the day, or they were on the backside of their career. So they weren't willing to learn it as much. And it just got lost on them. I think the other thing too is patience, right? We gave them 6 months, gave them months, and I'm like, they're networking, they have a funnel, but they're not really closing business. And we kind of parted ways versus kind of, hey, let's give them a year, let's help them out and support them, and let's make sure that it's processing for them to make sure that it's going well. I think the other thing too is we didn't support them from a marketing side. I mean, we've done the majority of our business year to date has been referrals and word of mouth. We don't have a paid search campaign today turned on. We haven't in 10 years. We don't do social media ads today. Again, I cringe saying all that stuff because we've recently brought on a brand manager to help us build all that marketing stuff.
Yeah.
But we put a salesperson out there on an island and said, go find business without any support. And we kind of failed in that sense. So I feel like this third time's a charm. They have branding support behind them. We have more patience in building it out, and we have more laser focused approach.
Well, the one thing I'll tell you, you should never have a salesperson be patient for a year. They should already be producing. The thing, but I do think you hit the nail on the head, is it's about the systems that you create to make them successful. And if you think about, like, you have 15 years of success stories in your head and problem solving for your clients. So you're going to always be the best salesperson. So what I always tell people is start really developing kind of this case story tackle box based on your methodology, right? So like with Agency Master, we have attract, convert, and scale, so you can have the opportunity to sell. So we basically created this Trello board of attract, convert, scale, and sell. And with all these success stories in there, but we would lead with what problem they had. So then when someone would come on, they could say, oh, you're having a problem with, keeping clients. Oh, I'll tell you this story, and this is what we can do. And then position them to the right offer. Like if you just, and I'm just laughing because I did this for years and years the wrong way, where I would just hire a salesperson, like the radio guy or girl, and be like, go sell because you can sell.
Yes.
But they didn't know what they were selling, right? You got to make it very easy. So like, if you're a lead generation agency, like I would go to a particular niche in the market and be like, here's the biggest challenge you're probably having. Is this a challenge you're having? Yes. Cool. What I recommend is, and you sell like this low dollar, what I call this foot in the door offer.
Sure.
That's risk reversal, like totally free if you don't enjoy it or if you don't get any value out of it. Just help them out. And you have them sell that first, then it builds confidence. And you'll know within a month or two if they're worth a shit or not.
That's good. That's awesome. No, I like that.
But
and it's interesting you say that because it's like we have some call recordings at our agency and all of our clients do, right? But we have call recordings and we have those scenarios and we have that 15-year experience, like you said. And like I've heard stories recently that, hey, plug that into an LLM, right? Any of them, right? And then that's going to help you spit out that tackle box faster that you were talking about. But it also gives you your data in there.
Well, the if you want to supersize it, right? Like you want to get supersized its fries, is you take all those success stories, you put it in the learning models, and then the sales guy can put the call recordings and base it on that, and all like it right? Because the biggest thing that really, there's two things I really feel that separates agencies right now from everybody else, because everything changes so fast.
Yep.
Like you just, what worked 6 months ago is not going to work for you today, right? Like it changes so fast. But the two things I think are all the data that you have as an agency, and then also the network of your agency. Because if you're chatting with, other people that have done this last week and it worked, cool. Let's do that for the next 6 weeks, because it's probably only going to work for 6 weeks, and then everyone's going to be doing it.
Yep.
And then it's not going to work anymore. And then you go on to the next and next. But those are the two things I think that, agencies really need, is just like, work with all their data that you have, because that's what makes you unique. Because all these agencies have the same tools.
Yep.
They all have the same tools.
It's funny you say that. My sales pitch is no agencies 2 + 2 ever equals 4, because we all have our own opinions, but we all have the same tools. We're all doing similar services. So ultimately you're buying that relationship and the knowledge base that the agency brings.
Exactly.
Awesome.
So, oh, cool. Well, awesome. Well, Brandon, this has been a lot of fun. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you think would benefit the listeners listening in?
I don't think so. I appreciate your time, and this is great.
Cool. Well, awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show. And for everyone listening, if you guys want to be in the room with the right network, the right people that can see the things you might not be able to see, we're putting on an event in April, and we'll do a couple a year as well. If you go to elevatemyagency.com, you can find out more details about it. We're going to be in Phoenix, Arizona, at a really cool resort, and really amazing people. We're going to keep it to like 50 agencies. So make sure you go there now, elevatemyagency.com. And until next time, have a swank day. I hope you enjoyed this content. If you want more content like this, make sure you click on the link on the screen or check out your most popular podcast platform where the full episode is there. And until next time, have a swank day. What are you doing? Go check it out. Click on the link. I'll see you soon.